Well, I would say thank you for having me as the Chief of Public Safety. It is my privilege to serve on the island. And as Brian just mentioned, that we're under interim leadership under General Ellis. And, you know, we pledge that we will keep the community involved, that not only will we talk to you, we will listen to you, and as these community engagement meetings go, we want to bring you up to date on island events as far as public safety goes, keep you informed, but also hear from you. I think that one of the greatest things that we can do is not talk only to you, but listen to and follow up on any issues or complaints that we have in the community, and we promise to do that. I'm here along with my Deputy Amoroso, just to say I was out for about 10 weeks with knee surgery, and he was here every single day, day to day, doing a stand-up job, and I thank him for that. I couldn't do the job without him. And as I said, we have General Ellis as an interim leader at RIOC, and our conversations going forward, we really want to involve the community in our day-to-day actions, our day-to-day just listening to and helping any way that we can. So one of the things that I did want to talk about, because we were supposed to have our meeting in 2023, and just how we ended our year crime-wise, and I've said this a number of times, we have very little crime on Roosevelt Island. If I was to talk about numbers, and I try not to bog down anyone with just numbers, because numbers you can interpret it any way that you want, but we had very little serious crime on Roosevelt Island, and the numbers say that we had 34 crimes, and those are major felonies on Roosevelt Island. And one of the things that I do talk about, and I keep on talking about, is that of those crimes, we had 17 what we call felony assaults or serious assaults. And most of these assaults are domestic violence. And one of the things that I try and I will promise is that I will bring and talk about this at every meeting and bring more awareness and make sure that we get help for the people who need the help in these domestic violence calls. We handle so many of these domestic violence calls, and we had one, I think it was October, that turned deadly, and that was the shooting in Roosevelt Landing building. That was a domestic violence call. And so one of the things that we really, as a community, that we have to focus on taking care of our neighbors, looking after each other. And I say with that domestic violence, the cousin to domestic violence is our mental health issues. We see this all over the island. And when we talk about crime, and I try to study the crime and what's going on, and I look at the crime wise, is that we have the perception of a lot of things that are unruly. And some of it is due to domestic violence. And while I was out, Deputy Amoroso, he had called me up because we have an issue down near the train station, near Duane Reed, and he called me up probably the first week of December, and he said, I'm doing something about the petty larcenies, the little larcenies at Duane Reed, because these are a lot of homeless individuals. They come out of the train station, walk right into Duane Reed, and they shoplift. And he made the decision that he was going to put our posts close by so that we could kind of deter this. And talk about crime numbers, during the year 2023, we were averaging about 14 to 15 petty larcenies from Duane Reed every single month. And in the month of January, February, and March, we have about 4 a month. So that is a dramatic, and he made the call. He called me up and he said he's doing it, and I appreciated that. That we were going to put our officer right down there, because not only does it deter the petty larcenies, it's how individuals now are acting when they go into the subway. They know that one of our officers are there every single day. They see them and they think twice before they're about to commit any types of crime. And it also intersects with the mental health aspect that we talked about, because a lot of individuals who come out of the train station to commit these petty larcenies, when we have arrested them, they have had serious mental health issues, and when we arrest them, they end up going to the hospital, being treated, and now they're going through the criminal justice system. So on those two, when we intersect our crime, and we talk about the domestic violence, the mental health, the homeless, these are our main issues that we have talked about, that we see on the island, and that we're going to focus on. And while we're focused on that, we just want our island to remain safe. I talk about safety, but then I have to practice what are we going to do about keeping everyone safe at all times. And what we have with our public safety officers is that we've dedicated the training, getting them up to speed on how to deal with the mental health issues, how to deal with the street issues. And that's one of the things, again, I have to thank Deputy Amoroso. He's right on top of it with the training for our officers, making sure that they are up to speed on how to deal with these issues on the street. And we're going to focus on that going forward in 2024. One other thing that we have found to work with just our issues of safety is performing verticals in the buildings. When you see officers walking through the buildings, whichever buildings that you're in, we concentrate mostly on the Roosevelt Landing building, but we have officers walking through the buildings at 460, also officers walking in the motorgate. We have, again, I have to thank Amoroso again for this. Get out of your car and walk around and respond to the people. When you have officers just riding by you, what works is that you get out and that you can have a conversation if someone needs you. So these are the kind of the community policing that we're going to practice going forward. One of the things I thank General Ellis. He had so many conversations with Amoroso, just how we're going to proceed going forward, and what's going to work and how we're going to work. And we have the support, the backing, and we promise that we want to serve the community, that it's our job and it is our responsibility, and we're going to do it as best as we can. Also, I'm going to give Deputy Amoroso another minute to talk about some of the issues that we're also going to focus on in 1 second. But one of our other issues that we want to focus on also going forward is we have a very small island, and parking is at a premium. And we write so many parking summonses. But our parking summonses are mainly so that people could comply, and so that we can free up parking so that people don't overextend their stay. So in the months that just passed by, we have been focusing on getting our officers out, writing these parking summonses, moving the cars along, keeping the traffic going. Because one of the things that we're going to see, especially with the warmer months, is that we're going to have more cars on the island. And then moving to one of my favorite subjects, coming up with the warm weather, we are going to be in the cherry blossom season on Roosevelt Island. So I say it's my favorite subject, but one of the things that we've had meetings that we talked about is that while we have the influx of people coming to the island, that again, our focus is on safety. We're going to make sure that people come and enjoy our cherry blossoms. That when you come and you see the trees, that we're going to keep the traffic moving, but people are going to be allowed to walk and enjoy the areas in the south part of Roosevelt Island, the southern part of Roosevelt Island. And we're fortunate enough to have the trees that look like they look the way that they look. It's very pretty, but when I look at the trees, I look at keeping people safe. How they're going to come, get to and from the island, and how they're going to be safe at all of times. So those are the upcoming things. I really want to hear from the community, but I wanted to give Deputy Amoroso a minute or a couple of minutes, just talk about his meetings that he has had with the community.
Wow, I feel like a rock star now, right? But I'll say this, I thank Chief Brown for coming back, because it seemed a lot longer than 10 weeks, it seemed like 10 months, but you know, he's my rock, so I always had a phone to pick up and talk to him about whatever I needed to, so. And everyone, Gerald and Brian have been there for me, helping me out, and everything's been going pretty good, I think the transparency in the community has gotten stronger. One of the things I do is I never refuse to meet with anybody. I've been meeting with people from 460 and some of the other buildings. If you come up to me on the street and you want to meet with me, I have no problem talking to you and being as honest as I possibly can with the situation, giving you as much information as I can. You know, that's what we want to do. We want to have a good relationship with the community. That's all we wanted to do from day one. One of the things that happened when the chief was away was there was some lines where people were saying they were being pushed by the tram. Pushed at the tram, people were being injured, and the next day I made sure that I was out there with my PSD jacket on, and I worked that detail that next night to make sure, because I knew there was no way that people were being injured, and I was not being told about this by the public safety officers. They are trained well. My background in the police department, amongst my enforcement things, is training. I'm a big advocate of training. In fact, I'm going to make another decision tonight to the chief. I'm going to run another self-defense training class for the community. I did it last year, about a year and a half ago. I've had people ask me to do it again. I'm going to do it again for you guys in this upcoming year, if I get the permission and blessing from the bosses. I think, you know, with the amount of people that have come up to me on the street and asked me about it, I think it's something that we should push at least every year, at least once. You know, just, you know, I'm there to listen to you guys. You know, Chief Brown can't be everywhere, and I'm his right hand. So whatever you guys need, I'm there to listen to you. We had a really good meeting just recently with media of Roosevelt Island. We met with Rick, and just moving forward of how to get stuff out to the community. One of the things I want to do is I want to congratulate Frank for becoming the president of RIOC. I think it's going to be a great working relationship. I've always had a really great working relationship with Frank. We don't always see eye to eye, but we're always truthful with each other, and you know, we get things accomplished. You know, he's helped me out tremendously and re-out tremendously with a lot of the events, from being a CERT team representative to working with American Red Cross. 4th of July, he's our savior. He helps us out tremendously. So, you know, I think it's going to be a great working relationship. He's got some good ideas. You know, I don't mind listening to him, and we meet, and you know, it's going to be a good thing. And I think we're moving in the right direction. You know, Brian has been a great part of our communications with a lot of the community members, and you know, just moving forward. You know, we have an open door policy. You know, one thing I can promise you is I'll never deny a meeting with you. But I can say this: it's, you know, I'm going to always, you know, it's not always going to be exactly what you want. It's going to be what we can do. You know, I'm going to say, yeah, A, B, and C is acceptable. We can work that out. But you know, F and G or Z, we really can't do those things right now. I'm not ready for that. So moving forward, guys, I'm here for you. You know, the chief is always here, and I thank him for coming back. And I thank him for his praise. And we've known each other a long time, and I know I always can depend on him to help me make my decisions. Thank you.
And one more thing, while we're giving community praise, a couple of months ago, Judy Birdie had brought up, training the officers, and we listen. That's what we do. We listen, we give them a little bit more training, talk to them a little bit differently on how to deal with the community, because that's what we have to do. We don't close our ears and say, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. We listen. So, with the summer months coming and the officers out on foot a lot more, you'll see them. And they've been out there even in the wintertime, but we've had a number of conversations on just myself and Emerald. So we wholeheartedly believe in community policing. And the backbone of community policing is interacting and engaging with the community. So we promise to do that each and every day. So I would like to open it up for questions. Anyone who has questions?
One question per person? No.
Oh, come on. It'll be a very long question. Hey, well, welcome back. Welcome to the Knee Club. It will be better, don't worry. Okay, cherry blossoms. We need one thing for cherry blossoms. Forget the flowers, forget the train, forget the subway. We need toilets. You don't know how embarrassing it is when I have to send people to Cornell Tech's, to their bathroom. The hotel does not want it. Granny Annie says that they have lines inside the restaurant because there are no toilets on this island. And it just can't go on. Porta potties are disgusting. We need a way to rent or get portable. They do make concrete, portable, easily assembled toilets. We do have plumbing, we do have water lines. We cannot have another year with people, 50, 100 people a day walking into the visitor center. Where's there a bathroom? It just is completely incompatible with having any visitors on this island. It's bad enough on a regular day or a regular weekend, but when you have extra thousands of people here, unless you tell them you can't come to the island unless you didn't drink for 4 hours, we need plumbing facilities, we need toilets, we need that convenience. It's not an amenity, it's a necessity. And getting these horrible portable ones that stink and are disgusting is not the answer. We have to find a way to have 6 or 8 decent concrete like we have at South Point Park, and they do make them, brought here and installed before April 22nd. And the good week is that not only is it the peak week is April 22nd, it's also Passover. So you know the 4 intermediate days of Passover bring thousands more tourists. So I recommend we all go on vacation.
That was easy.
No, seriously, it's really bad.
The porta potties will have.
But we have to do some future planning. It's really disgusting. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's
And you mean in the area by the tram?
everywhere. Everywhere, especially by the tram. And also more garbage pails. I mean,
Well, we talked about that. It's definitely going to be more
prepare
garbage.
like you're doing for the 4th of July. You know how you prepare for the 4th of July? That's how you have to prepare for it. From April, I would say April 15th on. You have
Those are
one.
all porta potties on 4th of July.
What?
The porta potties are what we use for the 4th
I
of July.
know, but that's only one day. April, you know.
But I think that we spoke about it, and we are going to have the porta potties, I think, for.
And we need to plan for the future.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree.
Yeah. We have to do something.
But in the immediate.
Yeah, in the immediate future.
But we need lots of them, and not hidden in places like behind the tram where no one sees them. I'll do a map with you, okay?
Hi, my name is Frank Branson. Yes, Deputy Amoroso, I'm going to put you on the spot, okay? No, this is good. This is good. So, as the deputy said, he's willing to take meetings with anyone, and as part of the Career Common Council, we've been reaching out because we've been trying to grow our organization and listen to constituents. We had several from Eastwood, Roosevelt Landings, the landings, the big complex over here. And they had expressed some concerns. They had some safety issues. We also had some constituents from Octagon, and we had spoken about some of the building-specific issues. And one of the reasons why I felt it was important to facilitate, or at least contact the deputy on this, is because there are things that work out well in this forum, which we continue to support, and we're happy that RIOC is doing this. But there are other things that are very building-specific that really don't allow the nuts and bolts. So we had a great, I would say, 45-minute to hour conversation on some of the individual security problems, and we're going to try to work through that through RIRA and its housing committee and such. But I learned...
On Sunday.
What? On a Sunday. Oh, he was available, yes, on a Sunday, an extremely short notice. I didn't expect to get that appointment. But the one thing I learned, when I've been listening to public safety in the prior administrations and such, I learned something significant, which maybe I'd ask the deputy to share with the community, is that one of the things that there was a concern with packages being lost, and there were videotapes, and let's play the videotapes and stuff like that. And I'm not going to do it as justice and as concise as you can say it, but there's an issue of, for the buildings, who's responsible for the videotapes, A, and B, who's responsible for looking for the videotapes. And then the third part, which I've never heard explained, but explained very well, was the distinction between, say, you need to file a complaint and why that's necessary at the 114, because, for example, PSD does not have its own investigatory unit, in other words, detectives and stuff like that. So maybe, Deputy, if you could explain those, because I thought it was very helpful for the community to understand those distinctions and where to go. Thank you.
Okay.
Frank wants to hear you again.
Frank wants to hear it again. So there is a little misunderstanding about these packages, especially, the Amazon stuff, they go missing. And Chief Brown had said at one of the meetings, we'll always take a report if you come in, an incident report for your missing package. We'll always do that for you guys. And we'll mark it down that it's missing. We cannot make it a stolen package unless you saw him steal it or her steal it, or there's some kind of video of someone actually stealing it, because we can't assume that it was stolen. We probably was, but we, by the letter of the law, we just can't say the package was stolen. So what people need to do, and what we instruct them to do, is you have to file a complaint report with the NYPD. Complaint report is also known as a 61. That's what the NYPD officers will say. Go to the 114, or we'll call the 114 and they'll come to you. And you file a complaint report that, the package has been missing, you'd like them to, there's video cameras in the building, you'd like them to investigate. You called Amazon and they said it was delivered 2 days ago. That gets assigned to a detective. That detective will go to the management department of that facility, that building, that complex, and ask them to look through the video on such and such days that you say the alleged package was taken or stolen. If they find somebody taking the package and they can identify them, they have the complaint and they can effect an arrest. The reason the 114 will make you make the complaint is they don't want to do all the work and then you don't want to file charges against that individual. We don't have a detective squad or an investigative unit that does that kind of police work. So that's why when you come in, we'll always say, you have to also file a complaint report with the 114. And I've heard from the offices, people are saying, no, Chief Brown said we could do it here, and we'll always take it for the missing property, but we can't change that report to stolen property unless a detective says that, hey, and they'll contact us. If they look at the video and they say that the package was stolen on such and such a day, the person fits this description, or we know the person, we made an arrest, we'll take the incident report that we had and we'll do an amendment to it and we'll make it a stolen package. But if you just come in and say that it was taken between this day and that day, we make it a missing property. We've tried to explain that to all the building managers. Most of them have explained it to their tenants. Frank came up with a couple of ideas that and I said, hey, Frank, bring it to their management departments. They do it over in Ravenswood houses. They have Amazon boxes out front where the package is put in an Amazon box, and then I believe you call Amazon, they give you a code to get your package out. Could they do that in some of the complexes here? That's up to the management department. So that's, as far as the packages, I know that people get very upset when these packages are taken. And a lot of them, are over $1,000. So if it is considered stolen, it's a grand larceny. An iPhone comes through, Amazon, or comes through whatever, UPS. That's over $1,000, some of these phones, so that's the procedure. I explained it to the individual that came with Frank, the tenant. Wasn't happy, but she understood, and she knew what she had to do moving forward. I've had this conversation with the management department right here at CNC, and he's explaining it to his tenants also. They have to file a complaint report. We don't look through video. And that's I think the misunderstanding, that we're gonna look through videos of all the buildings and try. So that's the best way I can explain it. That's the rule. That's right from the NYPD. So, we can always call them for you. So if you can't go there, they'll come here. Anyone good with that, or any questions with it? Go ahead.
There is an Amazon box in 546 and in the supermarket. So, anyone living in Roosevelt Landings, there's an enormous Amazon setup, the whole wall, and then Foodtown has an Amazon box. The thing is that, I don't know, sometimes you might be able to find it on when you order on Amazon, how you have it delivered to that box. Because the guy from Amazon is in that lobby every day filling up those boxes.
Yeah, well, I don't know exactly their procedure.
I can tell you, this is what I found out
Yeah.
about the box. And this is what's good about, the zip code on Roosevelt Island is 1044.
Right.
So only packages with that zip code can go into the boxes. As opposed to if you're off Roosevelt Island and you're in some other place like Ravenswood or in Queens, you can have all of the people from that zip code go into those boxes. So you have to trek to those boxes wherever they are. But Roosevelt Island, since it's only 1,144, only 144 packages go into those boxes. So it's only Roosevelt Island. And they are huge, and they can fill it up, and you can have it sent in.
That's the easiest thing.
As far as how that's something that, you have to
So
contact
I did
Amazon.
look into this, and while I was out sick. I did. Yes, sir.
So how can a resident who thinks the package may have been stolen but is not sure, it could just be missing, how could they get access to the video to make sure it was?
They have to file a complaint. If the package is missing, they can file a complaint. The package is missing, and then they will assign a detective, and they'll look through the video. Because this is just in practicality. If we start looking through video for, and what if we find the person and they say, okay, it was my neighbor, or we don't want to make a complaint, or, so they have, when you use the police, they're doing it for a purpose. They're going to follow up and they're going to arrest someone. They're not doing it so that, okay, thank you, thanks for looking at the video for me.
But if they just ask the building management for it, will they show them the video to avoid
That's
having,
up to the building management. I can't speak for what they're going to do.
in the past,
But
have?
they have the access to the video.
So the building management has access to the video, and they could,
But they're probably going to tell you to go to the 114. It's up to the building manager, what they're going to do. The correct policy is to file a complaint and let detectives look through the videos. That's so that there's, and it's also a safety measure, so somebody doesn't become maybe like take some kind of revenge that you took their package. This way, it's investigated by a detective. The detective finds out who took the package. You don't find out and get mad at the person, and you go after that person, or go knock on his door, or something bad happens. So there is a safety issue involved in why that procedure is in place. But it depends on the management office. And if you don't know if the package is stolen or missing, I I recommend that you call the delivery company and ask them when it was delivered, and get a confirmation from them, and bring the confirmation to the detective, to the 114, and say it was delivered, it's no longer there, we think it was taken. And they'll file a 61 for it.
And we actually put out something, and I think when we had this issue come before us, what to do if your package is missing, or if you believe that it's stolen. One of the good things is that NYPD needs to follow up on this. And there's a really good neighborhood coordination officer, could be here tonight, Officer Veloz. He has Roosevelt Island, and he will follow up on any of these missing packages. What else?
Any other questions?
So you,
One rep. No.
no, so you were just talking about preparations for the warmer weather and the Cherry Blossom Festival, which is coming up soon. Can you just describe what those preparations are in terms of the tram? And are it going to be any different than what's currently going on?
One of the good things is that we have a good partnership with the 114 precinct, and we're going to have extra officers in the area of in the southern part of Roosevelt Island, and we're going to have extra officers at the tram for weekend coverage. We'll have them there during the daytime hours up until sundown, and they will be there. And if the tram becomes crowded, we will make sure that we keep everyone orderly and safe. So we'll have officers there at that time, but we will have extra officers down in the area of where the Cherry Blossoms are moving. In the 114, they've always committed to having their patrol, and they will do extra patrol. And if there are any crowds down in the southern area, they will have a complement of officers here.
We're also going to send out a travel advisory notifying folks just, what to expect during the Cherry Blossom season. And there will be reinstituting weekend Manhattan shuttles to help alleviate some of the traffic, hopefully at the train station. We haven't honed in exactly on when that's going to start, and we're going to try to coordinate it best with the actual blooming of the trees. So it used to be easy to say in the month of April. Trees are blooming a little earlier than they used to. So we're keeping an eye on that for the time being. When that is finalized, we'll communicate to the community what the plan is for that moving forward.
That is going to be key. We're going to have that shuttle. And I say this, the Roosevelt Island residents who want to get back to the island, if they see that shuttle, we'll also have, the cardboard to direct people to that shuttle. Make sure that they can get on that shuttle and get back to Roosevelt Island, especially on the weekend. It's a quicker trip than waiting online. They get right over to Roosevelt Island. So we will have that shuttle available.
Are people using the shuttle, the weekend bus shuttle,
We'll see.
so far?
The weekend bus shuttles, when we've run them, they certainly have been utilized more than the morning Queen shuttle that we were running for a while on the weekdays. I would say that there is usually, I think, a pretty decent ridership. Could there be more added to those rides? Yes, absolutely. Are we encouraging people to take it? Yes. To be aware of it? Yes. There's more capacity available for riders. So we do want to encourage folks to utilize that option when possible.
And have you heard anything new about the MTA and when we'll get back to regular service?
We're hearing the same, what we've heard from them, which is April, but they're shooting to be done with the work by April. Q2?
April of what
Early
year?
Q2 of 2024 was what we were initially told, I believe. And nothing is deviated in their messaging to us on that.
Yeah.
This is PSD?
Well, thank you for the notice. The subway folk are pretty good about not parking in front of the wall opposite. It's the construction workers from.
And I summoned them all yesterday.
Do me a favor, every single orange vest you see.
And I summoned everyone.
Also, no one is paying for parking along in back of 475 to 460. No one, it's all orange vests.
We
summoned
you know what,
everybody.
I can tell
Please,
you,
or told them, it's infuriating.
it is.
Can I buy an orange vest
I
and
can
they
tell
never
you.
have to park?
Lieutenant Hazelwood is on top of that every single
Does it
day.
make you feel
It
commission?
is his pet peeve.
It's infuriating.
Yes,
You know what,
it
we
is.
don't-
There are now 15 parking spaces south of
tow company,
Yes.
Lucan's Road there.
Yes, we are aware of that. And
How many tows have you done lately?
I don't have the actual number on the toes.
Amoroso, about how
But,
many? Make me
Our
happy.
tow, you know what, we're very lucky, just so the community knows. For a long time, we didn't have a very reliable tow company, that they would come whenever they could come. We found a very reliable tow company that he will come 10 times in an hour if he can. And he will tell everything that we ask him to. In fact, CNC has just went into agreement with the same tow company because they were so impressed with how many cars we were towing. I don't want to give you the exact number because I don't have my folder here, but we have towed more cars in the last year
Than we ever towed.
than we've ever towed.
And he's good with, because one of the things is that he also tows up to the top of the helix. And if anybody wants to pay and get their car back, they can do that also.
He keeps it there for like an
Yes.
hour or so.
And but he gets it right off of the area where we designate him.
He's excellent.
Have we
And-
changed our signs that say tow away zone? Our sign?
You can be told for a lot, if you're in violation, you can be
Yeah,
told.
totally.
Yes, I don't need to put a sign in summons, I can tell, all the vests, our summonses, just so you guys know, our summonses have gone up from last year, from 2022 to 2023, complete year. They've gone up, they've doubled in the amount that we've done. We are doing full enforcement, we've listened to the community. In fact, our moving violations went from in the hundreds to 200 and something summonses, and that's all the crosswalks and U-turns and all those things. So we're hearing everybody and we're taking action. Those vests, we've made it known to all the construction foremen that their cars will be summoned and towed. They get summons first, and then if they're not gone within 30 minutes, they're towed. We're not allowing people to put vests in there. I just 2 days ago, I did a sweep right over by the mural, and they just happened to all park there. I spoke to the guy, and by the time I got back, I had already said, here's the way down there to tow and summons and tow.
Yeah, so we're going to keep up
Full
those vests.
enforcement.
Yeah, they're going to get the enforcement that's warranted, the vests and the windows. And what I can tell you, not just Amanda seeing her, send these reports to constituent services. If you let us know what something that you see, something that we have to take action on, she's right on top of it. She gets to us really in such a quick fashion. Things that if you have time, send her an email. She gets it right to us, and we can get right on top of it. She is very responsive, and then that way she keeps us responsive because we have to answer her back. What do we do in this instance? So I think that's a really good tool that is out there for the community. It's almost like triple checking. You send her something, we have to answer back, and then she makes sure. Then she messages back to that community member, this is what DSC did. So it is very effective.
Sure you can vouch for that process.
I know. No, I did something last week. I sent a ticket, and the next day it was finished. It was repaired. I forget what it is. I really appreciate it. And I just love walking around with my camera and sending Amanda tickets. We don't realize how neglected our island has been, how run down our community space, our public spaces have been until you start looking around, looking at the holes, looking at stuff that was never repaired. It was just left to get worse. And when you suddenly have people who are really interested, it's amazing, to see that things can get done, and I'm thrilled. And it makes life much easier. And I think we're very appreciative. And we just wanted to stay this way.
I was gonna say, nothing.
And also, look how happy you two guys
I
are.
was waiting to see if it was gonna get but since we're talking about parking, April 1st is quickly approaching, and has anything been decided about disabled parking? Because I'm getting phone calls galore.
Savers, right? We were, the announced, fare increases in Motorgate, is that?
Yes.
Yeah, so I believe that those fares were announced for May 1st?
I think it was April.
May.
I think it's May. We're gonna be discussing that more at the RIOC committee meeting, on Thursday. But I think, yeah, I think the decision, at least with respect to, disabled fees at Motorgate, is that they will not be, subject to that increase come May 1st. So they will remain flat at what they are currently at.
So what's going on?
The rest of the rates.
Because didn't they just go up?
They went up last year, yeah. So what was announced last year was a two-phase plan, right? A big increase on, and it depends on the rate. We'll go into this more on Thursday, but there was an increase last year and then an increase this year. So some of those rates were gonna go from, like the planned disabled rate was gonna go from 0 to 62.50 to 125, right? So that we're not gonna do. Then the other rates I think are gonna go up in the 3% range. Just an annual, essentially a cost of living increase, unfortunately.
And my salary hasn't gone up.
I know, it's unfortunate. I mean, they're still very, you'll see the data that we'll present on Thursday, but they're very much below market. I assume you're not a resident, so the island resident rate is very much below.
Well, I'm a resident.
Yes, no, the island resident rate at Motorgate is very much below
Oh,
market.
I understand that. That's why I live here.
For the good parking rates, right? Yeah.
Come on, I see you running across the bridge.
Any other questions?
So over the last couple of years, over the last couple of years, I think we've been talking about getting bike signage on the island. And with summer coming up and more bicycles coming to the island, will there be any kind of signage saying, you know, yes, you can go on the promenade, or no, you can't go on the promenade?
Well, I think that the bike signage and a lot of the island signage is a bigger island project that is taking place. I think, and this is, I'm not the expert on the signage at the time, but we have a lot of signage on the island, and they're trying to make sure that with the signage that is up, that we don't add to the confusion. So there won't, I don't think that there'll be any new signage at this point. But with the bikes out there, we have our officers who are on bike patrol also, especially with the warmer weather, and they will be out and they will be able to help the riders and guide them to where they're supposed to be riding and ride safely.
So, I mean, when the weather gets nicer, there are a lot of bikes that ride the wrong way on the West Promenade by the subway. And I thought at one time you were going to put up some signage that said, no, don't.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think there is a sign.
It says
It says do not enter.
There's a few of them, it says do not enter, no motor vehicles. But right now, when the chief was out on medical, we had a meeting about signs and traffic signals and everything, and that's all, I know we've said in the past, it's all coming to a conclusion, so we're going to make the signs a lot more easily for everyone to understand, and more universal for everyone to figure out, whether you're from the island or you're not from the island.
Yeah.
So that's been in the making for a while, that was part of the road project that we were doing. I mean, you know, so a lot of times we put up signs for safety issues because we needed to stop something immediately. One of the things that we did last year, I believe it was last year, was no motor vehicles. No e-bikes, no motor vehicles, nothing on the promenades, because it was getting a little out of control. You know, and those signs went up immediately because we needed to address that safety issue. Everything that comes to the public safety, especially in these meetings, is all about the safety and security of the island. You know, that's what we try to address immediately. And then we can always revisit and, you know, get the signage more, better in place.
I have a question, and just along those lines, because I know for a lot of meetings you've talked about this Hate this thing. Hello. You talked about this like sort of project you're doing, looking at, I don't know, not just signage, but sort of the whole island. And because one thing I've asked about before, and so I don't know if it's being considered, is like the road that goes, I don't know the names of the roads, like there's just one road, but like going south on, like between the road with construction, like where 480 and 460 is, instead of that being two-way, I feel like it should be one-way because it's one-way coming up, so it's like to be a loop, because it's a little dangerous with cars going two-way on that road.
Well, I'm not the road expert.
I know, you just said that 2 minutes ago.
I don't want to misspeak, but in this island-wide project, they are looking into every single thing.
I know, I've heard that for months.
How to make it better, how to make it safer. I'm concerned with the safety.
No, I guess, my question is just, is that something that's being considered?
I'm not sure.
Okay, that's an answer.
I'm not, I don't know.
I never heard that suggestion, honestly. I don't.
Cause like, I mean, I live in 480, and I feel like it's, like, you know how it's one way coming up from the subway side? Like, it's kind of dangerous, like, having the two-way that way, like, cause cars go too fast, they don't stop at the stop signs, and so if it was one way, I feel like it'd be a little safer. I don't know, that's the way I feel, as somebody who lives there and walks around there. So, and it just kind of makes sense, the way the island goes, like, you come down, you go one way, you go up, and all the other roads are one way, like down around the campus, it's all one way. So like, why is that the only kind of two-way road other than Main Street? It's not really needed. Just saying. Something to think about.
Yeah, maybe here you go.
I know, sure.
Was it always that way?
It's, but yeah, listen, nothing's worse than the Blackwell turnaround being a pedestrian. It's just terrible. People just wander into the street with their phones.
Judy, you
The
know
car-
what? I'm gonna tell you, I know that's being looked at.
That's-
I'm gonna
please.
say this to you, I don't know, I didn't hear
No,
anything about
that
that, but
is-
I'm telling you, I know that's being looked at.
Okay, the only other place that immediately needs a sign, if you are a stranger driving onto the island, you turn at the tram to go left, you're trying to find the hotel.
It's being looked at.
No, you're trying to find the hotel has asked for a sign since they opened. You need a sign at the tram turnaround and where North Loop Road is because it happens to have trees there. People cannot find the hotel.
And you're a
And
1,000%
also-
right.
I literally just had lunch at the hotel with the general manager today, and we discussed exactly this.
Let's see who's tell you the same. It's
Yes.
because the worst thing is they don't know how to get there. Then they have to circumnavigate all the way to South Point. And if you're my brother screaming at me on the phone, what kind of island do you live on? Because you can't find the hotel. Please get them a sign and a few signs. It's,
A couple, yeah.
yeah, I mean you need one at the you need at least 4. I mean they're great neighbors, great hotel, but it's not nice when the guests can't get to the place.
Yep, understand.
Timing is impeccable.
What?
Your timing is
Well,
impeccable.
can I have lunch with him also when you next time?
He sends his regards.
I know him well.
Yeah, I just want to thank you because in the past we've had a few, I wouldn't say major, but minor incidents, and your department has really come through and stationed someone down there to keep the volunteers safe and to keep all the other people coming in safe, so thank you for that.
But we, you have Officer Rivera, who that's, she,
But you also had someone else
Yes.
on station, a man.
Yes.
You know, and it really helped.
I think that incident, speaking of, we've got that under control, and I think it's working out for both parties in hand.
all parties.
Who's the tall officer who loves to bicycle?
He's outside right now.
Where is
Boys.
Yeah.
He's amazing. He's so much fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks
Really
everybody.
appreciate
7
it,
o'clock.
and have a great night. And we'll see you.
On the island,
Yes.
See you on the island.
And then the RIOC committee meeting on Thursday.
Thursday night, yeah.
Thank you.
What do you